Hi, and welcome to an interview that I'm going to be hosting today. My name is Joy Koff, and I'm the owner of Miracles of Joy. And it is my great pleasure to be bringing some of our top talent here in Dallas. So you get to know them a little bit better. So today, my special guest is Terri Groom. Hi, Terri.
Hi, Joy. Happy good evening to you.
Same to you. Same to you.
Thank you.
I'm going to get started with what it is that you actually do. And I know that you do channeling, and I know you teach channeling classes, and I know that you're a medium as well, but you're also
Yes,
an animal communicator. What is an animal communicator?
that is correct. It's one of my favorite activities. One thing that I have come to understand that animals love to visit, they love to talk, and they also love to tattletale. Uh, it's very interesting being able to connect with different species, different animals, feeling their information, finding out what their health issues are, perhaps, or maybe just some basic comforts. I can't tell you how many times I've been around dogs or cats where they just want their food to be back to normal or their favorite toy that's been missing. It's a fun challenge.
So, talk a little bit about the other aspects of what it is that you do, because you are a medium. Are you like a psychic medium, connect to people that have crossed over?
I am a medium. Yes, that is correct. One thing I pride myself in is I basically find myself going into a meditative state and allowing the energies to come to
All
me,
right.
whether that be a moment of mediumship for a loved one, for a client who's sitting across from me, or maybe their ascended masters just need to be able to make some comments to them. Mediumship on many different levels is what I try to accomplish.
So, how did you get started in this business?
Well, it's funny that you asked that. I pretty much started talking and people started listening. And I know that sounds kind of strange, but when I first started out, I thought I was strange. And I thought, well, these ideas that would come through my mind may not necessarily make any sense to anyone. And
Mhm.
after a while, I decided it was worth the risk. So the information I got, I started sharing, and it started making sense.
So, how long have you been doing this work? When did you
Uh,
begin this work professionally?
Professionally, about 6 years now. Yes. In fact, I was blessed to be able to teach classes with Miracles of Joy with you, Joy, early on, and that started my career.
So, how do you present your work to someone who may not even know this line of business? Like in your everyday life, when you're out in the public and someone says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?"
Well, I have determined that if I just simply say I am an animal communicator or medium, they'll probably run the other way. The general public is still a little shy when it comes to the metaphysical community. I like to tell people what I do is life coaching from the other side, and that gets a dialogue. We start talking about what that means, and then we go into other aspects of it.
So, when did you first recognize that you had a gift?
That's been since I was a little girl. I used to see spirits in my room all the time. I called them my playmates. Back in my day, there was no Google. We didn't know what spirit guides were, so they were just my friends.
And what motivates you to do this work on a daily basis?
I absolutely love helping people. It brings me so much joy to see the light come on people or to bring them comfort or relief about a loved one. It's my passion.
Let me ask this question. How do you connect with spirit? Everyone uses, their own way of connecting, whether it's meditation, but how does Terri Groom connect to spirit?
Well, sometimes through meditation, it depends on the availability of time.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's just, you blink, you open your eyes, and there you are. It's just desiring, wanting, manifesting. It's sort of the light that you keep on all the time, and then you kind of go into the room whenever you need to.
So I am aware that you do some work with police departments.
Yes, I have across the United States. Yes.
So talk
Uh,
a little bit about that.
Yes, I love working on missing persons cases. I also work on missing animal cases. I have been successful on some of the cases. Of course, as we all know, missing persons cases sometimes have unhappy endings. I'm fortunate enough to have found an Alzheimer man wandering in a park in New Jersey and brought the police to where he was, and he was safe. And it had been a cold couple days, so he was in dire need of being saved. So I'm very, very happy with this work. I'm very pleased with some of the outcomes.
So share with us some of your past studies and some of your past mentors. Who were some of the people that helped you develop into a channel and an animal communicator?
Well, my very first contact was Chuck Murphy, and I'm happy to say we've remained friends ever since. When I first met Chuck, my feeling was, I don't know if I'm just odd, crazy, or whether I should just be quiet altogether. And Chuck said, say what you feel, let it out. You know, none of this is to be taken too seriously, because then we start judging it. And so Chuck Murphy was a wonderful mentor, and I was grateful for him. And since then, I have had other mentors. I've done some study in UK in 2016 and 2017. I love trance, and I love trance healing, and that was the focus of my studies for extensive training in the UK.
And where in the UK did you study this?
At Arthur Findlay College in England. I just absolutely found it to be amazing.
So what kind of sessions, if someone was to contact you, what kind of sessions do you offer?
Well, I offer as many as I can. My take on what I do is, when I hear their voice or get their email, or perhaps they're asking me face to face, I try to hone in on what it is exactly they're going to need. You know, whether it be mediumship, or maybe they need some trance work. Maybe I'm a medical intuitive as well, so maybe they're hurting and I can assist them with that. It truly is a matter of what I feel they need, that I mention to them, and see if they want to work with me on it.
So when someone signs up for a session with you, is there a certain length of time that they sign up for, or is there a recommendation that you have?
Well, it really does depend on the individual. You know, as far as what I do, I would like to keep, my time with them for about an hour. Sometimes, it runs a little over that. Sometimes when you get a session that lasts 2 or 3 hours, that gets a little taxing, not only on the client, but on me. And so I try to keep the sessions 1 hour at a time, and then we base it on what they need.
So what kind of workshops do you offer?
Oh, I love workshops. I have a mentorship program that I'm working on right now. I teach trance communication workshops. I also am in the process of trying to formulate a workshop on animal communication. And just about anything I can possibly think of, I absolutely love to teach.
So my next question is going to be, what kind of feedback have you received from clients?
Well, I usually, fortunately, get pretty good feedback. Depending on what the matter is, that sometimes if I'm doing a mediumship trance with them, then the feedback will be the connection, the tears of joy, the tears of connection. Sometimes it's just listening to them and understanding their needs, and helping them to recognize that their back pain comes from a certain source of emotion. It's really the satisfaction comes from their feedback of, you've made a difference, you've helped me in seeing them again.
So my next question is going to be, I know you also offer channeling.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you, what is channeling? For those that for those that are listening who don't understand the difference between mediumship and channeling.
To me, channeling is a connection to all is. Whether that be source, God, the universe, it's a connection. It's a connection to the ascended masters, the spiritual realm, the other dimensions. It's a connection to all that is. Collectively, individually, whatever that actually means. It's just the connection to all.
And do you help people develop their connection to the all that is?
Yes.
Okay.
That is something that I work with the clients in my workshops doing this, sometimes on an individual basis in private sessions. It is something that I truly have a passion for as well.
So how do people benefit from that connection?
I think the most important thing about what we do as a whole is giving people the tools, showing them that they have the tools. Let me rephrase that, within themselves. It's helping to build their confidence. We all are channels. We all have the capacity and the ability to connect. And it's in that knowledge and in helping clients to see that there is the greatest joy.
So do you teach any healing modalities? Are you certified in any healing modalities?
Through Arthur Finley, I teach trance
Mhm.
trance healing. I also teach absent healing, and
Okay.
those are the modalities that I am focused and trained in.
Okay. So where has this taken you? I mean, what I mean by that is we all are on our path, but what other, what are some of the places that you have traveled to do this kind of work? And what are some of your favorite places?
Well, I have been to El Salvador. I've done channeling in El Salvador. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. A little scary, as we all know, but the channeling work I did there felt very healing. I did it with some of the locals there. I have been to Ecuador, another beautiful, beautiful place, and did some trance and some healing up in the mountains with some of the residents. So that was remarkable. Ecuador is probably one of my most favorite places in the world. Then, of course, England. England has been a joy. It's my home sweet home in many ways. And just working with the people there and the other students from across the world that joined in for the connections and the workshops, that brought great joy to me as well. I love to travel. It's one of my favorite things to do.
One of my favorite things to do as well. I can understand that. It's just different.
It is. It's fabulous.
So, what advice would you give someone who wants to pursue being either a channel or an animal communicator? What advice would you give someone on their path and how to get started with this?
I would say just breathe.
Mhm.
Start moving forward. Recognize the fact that you are human. This is a human condition we're in. We're human beings. That we're going to make mistakes. But it's in the work we do in moving forward and believing in the messages that we get. It's it's something that some days, my clients, I'll tell them, some days you'll feel that you've gotten no messages. You'll feel that the messages you got were all wrong. And I say to them, that's okay. You keep pushing forward because the messages most of the time are very accurate. And
Mhm.
so just to believe in themselves more than anything that they can do it.
So, if someone is just starting out as a medium or a channel, what should they do first?
First, I think that they should, one, make sure that's exactly what they're wishing to do.
Mhm.
It is a commitment and it is
Mhm.
a responsibility. And then second of all, I think they need to find a mentor, someone that can help them to get through the parts that get a little confusing sometimes. Sometimes when they're trying desperately to connect with someone's loved one and that person's not there, how to overcome that, how to understand that,
Mhm.
how to move forward with compassion. A mentor is such an important part of anyone's journey when it comes to the metaphysical community or really in any type of field.
So, how should a client prepare for a session with you? Is there something that they should do? Should they have a list of questions that they're going to ask? Or do you just want them to show up and let spirit tell them what spirit's going to tell them?
That's my very favorite type. They'll As soon as they walk in, I'm like, here we go. We hit the ground running. That's what we do.
Uh-huh.
But of course, if they have questions, I want them to always feel that they can ask these questions.
Mhm.
Sometimes spirit just wants to give them information that's not on their list. And so, the questions are wonderful and we can go through them. But sometimes spirit just wants to share a message directly to them that they may not have even thought of. So
Mhm.
as far as preparation, I just ask them to be ready to learn, to understand, to communicate, to interact, because it's a two-way street. With the spirit world, they want us to connect to them, and so it's just tell them to relax and enjoy the ride.
So let me ask you a question. Have you written any books, and would you like to share any of that today?
I have actually. I have written a book under my pen name, ATACT. The book is called Altered Grace. It was one of the primary reasons that I got into helping others, working with others through the spiritual side of what we do. It's a book. It's an autobiography, and it's not light reading. I don't recommend reading it in the evening before bed. I've also had an opportunity to be on Netflix, and I've done some work with them in California, and that was an experience as well. So I'm in fact writing another book right now. So hopefully that'll be out before the end of the year.
Well, that's all the questions I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me, Terri.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure visiting with you, Joy. Thank you.
And until next time.